Hey guys, what's up? It's JMT and welcome back to another Survive the Night video. In this video, we're going to be talking about all the slashers and making a slasher tier list. For people who don't know what a tier list is basically going to be ranking each slasher from worst to greatest. We're going to be putting them into specific ranks from the F rank all the way to the C rank. Before this video does start, I just want to say my vocabulary with this tier list is going to be a little bit different than people, because how I like to sort mine out is from F to B to A and then to C. And people are like, okay, well, why isn't it F, C, B, A? Well, because the letter C and the letter S are actually used up for higher ranking systems in the actual culture of society in this world, okay? C and S is pretty much the same thing when you're actually ranking people, which is why I'm going to be using that specific category. So we're going to be going from F to B to A and then to C or S, whatever you call it. I'm going to be calling it C. So as you can see on the screen right now, we're going to have a total of 4 ranks. We're going to have the F rank, the B rank, A rank, and the C rank. And it's going to be sorted from worst to best. Now, of course, this video is going to be pretty much opinion-based, but I'm taking all of my statistics, I'm taking all my facts, pretty much just off of playing the game and watching other people play the game as well. And we're going to go ahead and throw all of the 12 current slashers into this tier list, and I'd like to see your guys' opinions on what you think down below if I sorted this list out well. And if you guys do disagree, let me know your reasoning on why they should either be bumped up or bumped down. So let's go ahead and get started with the F tier, the worst tier. In the F tier, we're going to start off with a bang, okay? We're going to be putting the Hunter into F tier. Now, the Hunter was actually a super popular slasher character. He's not the greatest slasher anymore, and I don't see anyone play him anymore, actually. His ability before these recent updates, he was actually able to go ahead and see through walls and stuff. He was able to see where everyone pretty much was. It was like a detection, but if they were in close range. So it was really nice. In my opinion, the Hunter's ability is like, you don't actually need it. Okay, I could be playing another slasher and I could be doing the same exact thing. Like, I don't need to be able to have an ability to show me where people are that are in my line of sight. There's so many possibilities that could go ahead and actually track survivors without having to have an ability to do it, which is why I'm putting the Hunter into this F tier. The other slasher that we're going to be going ahead and putting into the F tier is the Alien. Do you guys actually see people use the Alien Slasher? Have you guys ever seen someone use the Alien Slasher before that hasn't been in a YouTube video? Like, actually use it inside of a game? I have very few times, though. And it's normally because people just like the way Alien looks, or they like just because he's Alien, okay? A lot of people like Predator vs. Aliens, alright? There's a specific reason right there to play as a character like that. The reason that the Slasher doesn't get played at all, okay, we're gonna say that, is because his ability and how hard it is to actually play. And let's say people actually do use ability and they use it pretty well. In my opinion, it's still pretty pointless. I don't need to go ahead and travel to the end of the map just to be able to reach someone again that I was currently chasing. If I see someone in my line of sight, I'm going right for them and I'm not stopping until they're dead. The only reason his ability is super insanely hard to use, because you don't know where to place the burrows. You don't know where to go with the burrows. When do you even activate the ability to go ahead and burrow? And it takes so long to go ahead and actually burrow to that location point that it's such a waste, okay? Let's say if someone was by that burrow point, then you gotta sit there for a solid like 10 seconds to go ahead and actually transport to that location. And by that time, the survivor's pretty much gone. The only people that I've actually heard about who have been using Alien, they go ahead and actually use his ability at a time where they just think someone's over there or they just need to get to that other side of the map. Alien's ability is only good, I'd say, if you need to just get to that other point of the map. Let's say if you know a lot of survivors travel around this one location, then go ahead, put a burrow there. Then you're going off and chasing someone and you kill them, and then let's say you want to get back to that main point where all the survivors pretty much meet up all the time or walk through at certain points, then it'd be okay to go ahead and actually use his ability, where I'd say it'd actually be useful. Other than that, I don't see anyone use him. I don't use him myself, and I think his ability is just not worth it compared to other ones. And the final slasher in the F tier is going to be the Chainiac. Now, don't get me wrong. The Chainiac's ability was great against the hammer spammers, okay? But with this recent hotfix of this 2.2.1 and 2.2.0 update, you can no longer have them hammer spammers, okay? If you're using the hammer and you drop a barricade, whoever dropped that barricade is the only one who can build on it now. You can't have multiple people building barricades. The Chainiac was insanely good at destroying them hammer spammers. If you had 2-3 barricades in your way, the Chainiac could go ahead and just destroy those and continue to push forward to actually take out people. It was insane. But that was pretty much all he was known for. Or just taking out big groups of survivors as well, because Chainiac's ability is having him rev his chainsaw for a quick multiple attacks to go ahead and slash more than just that 1 second left mouse button attack. However, that's the only thing that the Chainiac pretty much does. His ability is pointless if you're going against one person, which happens a lot in Survive the Night. A lot of people like to split up. It was just like for the murder as well. It's like you're going to go ahead and catch up to him eventually. You're going to go ahead and kill him eventually. You don't need to go ahead and actually use his ability to rev a single kill. A lot of these slashers that we're going to be describing we're going to be using examples of like what they could do against gear and what they could do against like certain packs of people or just people by themselves as well. And this is why we're going to be keeping Chaniac into the F tier. Moving on to the B category, these slashers I see used quite a bit. We'll go ahead and explain how their abilities actually correlated them to go ahead and be thrown into this higher tier than the F tier. And in the B tier, kicking it off, we got the Murderer. The slasher you get when you join the game. The slasher that everyone has that plays Survive the Night, the Murderer. But he's not an F tier slasher, okay? The Murderer is actually pretty useful. His ability is entering a rage mode that actually lasts for some time and actually gets you caught up if you are in a pack of survivors. His ability is very useful if you're chasing a pack of survivors and let's say they do split off, which happens a lot of times if you're going against people who are insanely good at playing survivor. You gotta split up because if one survivor wins, you all win. You share that same reward for people who didn't know that. So let's say if they do split up and you go ahead and get yourself a kill or two from that group, you can use his rage mode to go ahead and actually get caught up with those other split up survivors. His ability is pretty useful at doing that. But when does that actually happen? And a lot of people who do use the murder ability are pretty much just chasing one person. It just helps you get quicker kills, in my opinion. You don't get to use it all the time. It's not an ability that has a cooldown rate where it's like, okay, well, let's use it again. Because when playing as these slashers and you're going ahead and actually chasing that one person, you're going to catch up to him eventually. You don't need to enter a rage mode to go ahead and catch up to him that quick. Like I said before, everyone gets him. Everyone's going to know how to play him, which is why he's a slasher that is going to be easily countered. And a lot of people already do counter him. I don't see people use murder. Once they actually unlock a box and I think they get a different skin, they're going to switch it to that just because the murderer's ability is not one that people like. The next slasher we're going to be going ahead and throwing into the B tier is going to be Nightfall. This slasher was used just like the Hunter. I used to see the Nightfall all over the place. It was a huge popular slasher, and that's because when this slasher actually dropped from his update, you could get him for free. If you saw a Nightfall player as a slasher and you don't have Nightfall yet, go ahead and have him kill you because that's how you get this slasher. You can get him for free, which is why I was seeing everyone using this slasher. Now, just because he's a free slasher, does that mean he's good? Well, I'd say he's better than an F tier. When Nightfall activates his ability, it's not just giving him increased damage. He's actually immune to staggers as well while he's in that ability state. And for people who don't know what a stagger is, this would be like shields, bear traps, all that stuff that would slow you down if stepped on or if activated as you hit him. Which is why Nightfall should not be placed into the F tier, because this is used pretty useful, especially when most of the population that plays Survive the Night is using this type of gear. Now, how much does his increased damage actually do? It doesn't do enough to actually throw him up into the next tier. There's other slashers that go ahead and have their ability do way more damage than Nightfall's ability does, and this is only because Nightfall pretty much has those two abilities. His increased damage is just another thing to go ahead and add to him because a slasher that just is immune to staggers when he uses his ability, yeah, that would work, but in this scenario, ability outbeats boring, which is why we're not placing him to the F tier. We're going to keep Nightfall into the B tier. And the last slasher into the B category is going to be Onro. Now, I was actually on the bridge with this one. I was going to put the slasher into the A tier, but we're going to move it down to the B tier. Now, I know we're putting it in the B tier, but in my opinion, it's going to be on the edge, okay? It's between the B and the A tier because this slasher can actually be used pretty well, especially when Puzzle came out into the slasher shop and a lot of people liked him. There are certain spots and certain maps where this slasher is actually super beneficial to going ahead and just winning slasher modes, slasher games pretty easily. Like if you're playing Hospital, this slasher is perfect, or if you're playing on that Revenant map in the cave system, because a lot of people like to hide in that cave system, but if you go ahead and just wipe out that cave system, get everyone out of there, or get some quick kills in there, place her ability in that cave system, and then boom, if someone ever does walk in there again, you don't even have to touch that ability or that well that she places. You could walk past it, you could be near it, and it will still activate. That'll go ahead and actually let you know that, okay, people are still going into this area that I just cleared out, so I gotta go ahead and actually make another loop again, and then you can go ahead and actually recon that area, and maybe even find more survivors as well. And like I said before, in certain maps, great slasher. In other maps, not so much. There are other slashers you can use that are better than this one. This one's more of a recon character. This is a character that a lot of people still don't know how to use because they're like, all right, where do I even put this ability? Some people just randomly place it, and then they're like, okay, well, if I'm just going to keep doing that and not actually learn anything from playing as a slasher, then I should just use someone else. And there are other slashers, in my opinion, that would be better than this one. Which is why I was kind of on the edge with this slasher, but I think we're going to keep her into the B tier. But like I said again, I could easily have switched her into the A tier. Alright, moving on into the A tier. These are slashers that I think are better than the average slasher. These are in the top 50% of the best slashers. First off is going to be the Exterminator. This slasher was crazy insane, was used quite a bit before the updates, again like I said before, because this shotgun used to do 75% damage of the total survivor's health. But now in these recent updates, I'm pretty sure the Exterminator shotgun only does a 1 hit, so it's not as good as it was before. It's still up into that category where it's just a good slasher to go ahead and play, because this shotgun is not used for just taking out people, it's used for other things as well, against people shutting doors, against hammer spammers. We're going to go ahead and talk about all that with this Exterminator to why he is going to be first into the A slasher tier list. Now the Exterminator, his shotgun, may I say, can shoot through doors, alright? It doesn't seem like it, but if a door is completely closed, then no, his ability is not going to actually shoot people through the door. It might actually just hit the door. If people just got through a door, shut it on you to a point where you can't get in there, so they successfully shut the door in your face and they're running away, while that door is still closing it and you activate that ability, the shotgun bullet's going through the door, okay? It's still going to hit the survivor, and most of the time, that's actually going to cause a death. That's going to cause a kill. The door's already shut, which is what you want to do as a slasher. Keep them doors shut. You just got to walk away now. You don't even have to worry about entering that room, unless, of course, there was a pack that was entering that room. The Exterminator is a perfect slasher for people who want to shut the door in your face, and then you can go ahead and actually shoot them through it. Most of the time, like I said, it might kill them, but part of the time, it's not going to as well, so you got to sit there and wait for the door to open back up. The other reason this slasher is going to be put into the A list here is because he's good at taking out barricades as well. If you use his ability while taking out a barricade, the shotgun bullet will shoot the barricade, okay? Then it'll make it a 2-hit. You just got to hit it twice to break down that barricade. So it's like another hit to going ahead and actually taking out these barricades, hitting people through doors, and just taking out people in general, which is why I'm putting an Exterminator into the A tier. The next slasher I'm putting into the A tier is going to be the Merch. This might be a surprise to some people because it's like, wow, what? This slasher is 30 tokens in the merch surplus shop. Why would it be put? Why is it not put into the C tier? Well, money doesn't always buy skill, okay? I'm going to say that right now. Money doesn't always buy skill. The merch may be a good slasher to some people, and some people can use them really well, but from what I've seen, the merch just isn't able to be put up into that C-list category, and for these specific reasons. Yes, the merch is a great slasher for taking out groups of people, because he has 6 shots in his gun. Each shot in the merch's revolver only does 50% of an actual full hit. So let's say if a survivor is a 2-hit, then that's 4 merch bullets that you got to use to actually take out that survivor. Is someone going to actually go ahead and shoot a survivor 4 times without hitting him once? Absolutely not. If some people do that, what are you doing? If you're going up against a survivor and you hit him once, then that's 2 merch bullets to go ahead and take him down. But most of the time, you're just going to hit him, shoot, hit him again, and then they're dead, okay? You don't even need to shoot the gun, which is why he doesn't deserve to be in that C-list category. Most of the time, because people are running perks that are going to be gear-based, going to be relic-based, going to be sprint-based, stuff like that, not a lot of people are going to be using health perks. So when it comes to the merch, actually going against survivors that are pretty much only going to be a 1-hit or a 2-hit, his gun's pretty pointless, unless you want to take out multiple people. Because if you're chasing someone and they're a 2-hit, it's still going to take you the same amount of time to hit them twice than it is to be using the gun. Because you're going to hit, shoot, then hit again. And that same time is not going to change when you just hit him twice. So that's why his gun isn't any better than it is to just hit him twice, as any other slasher could. But let's say if a person is a 3-hit, then his gun would come in handy. Or let's say if a person is a 4-hit, then his gun would come in handy, because it's going to be faster to kill someone than it would be for any other slasher to go ahead and actually hit them. The merch, in my opinion, is only good for people that are in groups, so you can take out multiple people or even just damage them and then get to them later. Or it's good for people who use perks that are going to be making them more than a 2-hit. That's the only reason the merch would be a good slasher to use. Other than that, I don't think he's a good slasher to go ahead and deal with those people who use gear perks, who use sprint perks, because those people are going to be the people that you got to worry about in playing Survive the Night. Those 2 perks you got to worry about a lot when playing as the slasher. And so for those reasons, we're going to be putting in the merch into the A tier. The final slasher in this A tier category is going to be the new slasher that just came out called the Anenra. A lot of people probably don't know what the Anenra does yet, and if you don't know, I made a video on it. If the Anenra's ability goes off, the Anenra doesn't even have to be near you either, okay? The Anenra could be on the other side of the map and still use its ability. This pretty much makes it so the survivor's vision is just incoherent to being actually there, okay? You don't have vision anymore if the Anenra activates his ability. You're not going to be able to see where you're going. You're not even going to know the environment around you. That's Anenra's ability. He is a fog character, okay? He's a fog slasher. It's pretty much putting you into a fog where you just can't see anything. And it lasts for quite some time. This isn't really a recon slasher, but we can put it into that recon category because it helps just destabilize where people are going, their thought process, what they were doing, everything. The slasher just destroys that, which is why he's in the A category. Now, there's another reason he's in the A category as well. He has a other description part into the slasher where he is immune to stuns. Oh my gosh, what's happening? We have a slasher immune to stuns now. Everyone stop panicking.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Yeah, if this slasher's coming up to you and you have a camera or a shotgun and you think you're safe, think again, okay? This slasher doesn't care. Alright, he doesn't care if you shoot him or stun him, because he's just gonna push right through that. This slasher is pretty much a ghost. This slasher is a super great counter to people who like to use the Merch's revolver and the micro rounds, which is so popular in the Merch's surplus shop. This slasher counters that, which is why he's in the A category. Moving on to the C tier. Into this slasher category, we have 3 remaining slashers, and the first slasher in the C list category is the Lady. Oh my gosh, is the Lady such a good slasher? Is she such a slept on slasher? People, you need to start using her more because she was the destroyer of door looping. She was the destroyer of hammer spammers. This slasher was insane, and it does more than just taking out doors and lockers and barricades and stuff like that. You can use her ability to hit people. Give them that falcon punch. The Lady slasher can instantly break down doors and lockers and barricades with 1 hit, okay? Say goodbye to 3 hits. If you need to break down a door from chasing someone, just activate that ability. Shabam, the door is gone. You can continue marching right towards that survivor and not lose any track or speed while you're doing it. It's insane. This slasher was perfect against the hammer spammers, which I keep bringing up. This was such a unique thing for people to do while they were in groups, which is not going to happen anymore, of course, with the hotfix that just happened. But still, that doesn't mean people aren't going to be using the hammer, because it's a gear that you can get for free. So having that ability to go ahead and actually take down that power that these survivors used to use all the time, and probably still are going to use, it honestly just evaporates the idea that these survivors were planning to do with their hammers. And not only that, but this slasher is also good at chasing people, okay? If someone's trying to shut a door in your face, you're breaking that door right off, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to catch up to speed with them before they actually get to the next door with all these door changes. But let's say you are chasing someone who isn't going through any hallways or corridors that have these doors to be able to use to slam into your face and stuff like that, where you're forced to use the ability to take it out. Let's say if they're just walking down hallways or they're circling the gates on the graveyard map and stuff like that, you can use the slasher's ability to hit them. This is just like the Exterminator. Of course, the Exterminator has that long range distance, but with this Lady Slasher, she's not slower than anyone else. You still have that speed and that momentum to go ahead and actually catch up to the survivor. Give him a tap with that ability, okay? That takes off a hit. Therefore, makes for a faster killing. So this Lady Slasher, I'd say, is like the Exterminator combined, but actually having his shotgun blow off doors. Okay, that's the Lady Slasher, which is why she is put into the C category. Moving on in the C category is going to be the Commander. Oh my gosh, the recent update they did with this slasher. Holy crud, is he a beast now. For people who don't know what the Commander can do now, it's insane. His main ability before was just force choking people, which would make him immobile for a certain amount of time. Then he could go up and get a hit off of him and then continue to chase him again. They did some fixes to him, and they were some major fixes, which is why he is in the C category, the C tier list. I use this slasher, okay? I permanently use this slasher. It's insane. This slasher is pretty much just like the Exterminator, but immobilizes them. The Commander now, when you force choke someone, takes off a whole hit of the survivor's max health. Let's say if someone's a 2-hit and you use force choke on them, then bam, they're a one hit. And they give you time to clear off that one hit as well because they're immobile. So if someone's a two hit, which happens a lot because like we said before, people use the gear perks and the sprint perks, which a lot of those don't give you any increased health, and if they do, it still only makes you that two hit. So with all these people being one hits and two hits, you could just force choke them and slash them right out of the game, okay? You just ended their career. If they think they're safe with a two hit, you're not safe anymore with the commander coming through, okay? And his ability recharges insanely fast. I think this slasher's ability is actually the one that charges the fastest out of any of these slashers. You can use the commander's ability more than like 3 or 4 times in a single game, which takes out 50% of the survivor population. It's completely crazy, and you can actually go ahead and use this slasher as well to target specific people that are helping out a group, like stun people or hammer people, people like that. You could take them out right away out of the game and have those other people running for their lives because they just lost that important group member. It's an insane slasher, and it's a slasher that I use all the time only because he got this recent change to him, which is why we're putting the commander in the C list. Now moving on to the top of this list, okay? The top of the C list. The Myers slasher. Oh my, do you guys know what the Myers slasher does? Because his description is pretty bland. It's not self-explanatory at all. There is so much to the slasher. The Myers slasher can silence survivor heartbeats, he prevents light bulbs from breaking, and most importantly, hides his red glow for 30 seconds. Oh my gosh, there is more than just one ability on this man. This guy is the god of staying quiet. He is the silent killer. Most of the people will crap their pants if they even see this person because you can't hear him coming. If the Myers activates his ability while chasing people, what that means is that you're not going to be able to hear him coming, which is why it makes him such an insane slasher. And I'm not just putting him into this tier list because I'm a Myers fan, but I'm putting him into this tier list because, like we said before, his ability does so much more than just one thing. This slasher can destroy so many of the survivors' plans that they have before they even start the game because they have no idea where he's starting. They have no idea when his ability is activated. They don't have any idea when he could use his ability. Again, no, his ability doesn't do anything towards the health of survivors, doesn't do anything towards the detection of the survivors, but he is the only slasher whose ability benefits himself into actually taking down survivors, which is why we put Myers at the top of the C list. So that's pretty much the slasher tier list, from F to B to A to C, ranking from worst to best. Do you guys have any changes that you think I should make to the slasher tier list? If you guys do, let me know your explanation down below. I want to see some changes made to this list. I want to see some people actually go ahead and say, hey, no, he shouldn't be put there. Let's put him up one, or let's put him down one. Or if you guys actually agree with this list, because we can make more of these in the future with oncoming slashers, with the future slashers, and actually the changes made to the concurrent slashers, which might bump them up or bump them down. It's a list that's going to be updated, and it's a list that I made based off of my opinion. So if you guys do have any changes, don't feel like you're a burden, okay? Let me know. But that's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the slasher tier list, and that's it for me. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.